The research outcome is the answer to the student's question. So when they start the research project, the student will undertake processes to refine a research question. They'll work out how they're going to collect their information and analyse their information. They will do all that. All of that information is contained in the folio. Now's the time to actually answer their question, and this is what the research outcome aims to do. So the student is required to present their key findings that they found from their research. And those key findings must be substantiated. There's a number of ways of showing substantiation, which I'll talk about in a minute. The research outcome can be presented either written or in a multimodal format and is worth 40% of the student's work. The requirements for Research Project A is that the student has 1,500 words or 10 minutes to present their research outcome. In Research Project B, it is 2,000 words and 12 minutes for their research outcome. It's important that students understand that they do have options with how they present their work. And the Chief Assessor's report does talk about how students may present their work creatively, and the creative showing of their work, of the answering of their question, may actually suit the type of question that they've done. So, for example, if they have investigated how to teach the little kids how to play footy, like Auskick or something, should the students write that in a report, or could they present that as a video or something like that? So those sort of options are available and encouraged for the research outcome. When presenting the research outcome, students need to do pretty much two things. They need to tell us what they've learned. So they need to tell us the key things that they've learned as a result of their research. If I use the example of the video for the curry, for example, then the information within that video, put this ingredient here, put this ingredient there, because that is evidence of the synthesis. So that's evidence of what I have learnt. Now, part of what I've learnt might be how to make a video, and so that would need to be, that's involved in the assessment as well. Having said that, the actual product that they make, or the report that they've written, how they put it together is evidence of the synthesis. And so that's the criteria S1. The other criteria, which is very, very, very important and sometimes is overlooked for whatever reason by individuals, is the substantiation. And now this is proof of where the information has come from. So if I'm adding this ingredient at this stage in my recipe, I need to tell the audience where I got that information from and whether that information is true or not. So that information needs to come from a reliable source, hopefully backed up by multiple sources, and should be relevant to my findings. So if I'm going to add a chili here at the start, I need to explain that and say I got this information from this source backed up by this source. And that's what evidence of the substantiation is. So if they're writing a report on whatever question that they've done, a lot of the students will use footnoting and in-text referencing and things like that to support the arguments that they make, to support the key findings that they are presenting. Just having a bibliography at the end won't provide strong A level or B level evidence of substantiation. You need to be able to support every single claim that you make. And so whether that's in a written form or in an oral form or a multimedia form doesn't really matter, as long as it is there and clearly evident to the assessor and also to the moderator. Another example might be that students will develop a product. They will make something. They will make a surfboard, or they'll make a bookcase, or they'll make something, a piece of art. That's great. I mean, the actual product they make counts towards the synthesis, because that is an application of the things that they've learned from their research. So they've learned that for the bookcase, they chose this type of wood because, from their research, it was the best sort of wood for what they wanted to do. Or they used these particular joints or screws or whatever because they've worked that out from the research. So the bookcase itself is not how pretty it is. It's an example of the research put together to create this product. The bookcase itself is not a research outcome. The bookcase itself is an example of the synthesis, what they have learned put together to create something new, which is true synthesis, really. What needs to go with that is a written statement of substantiation. Where did they get the information from that wood was the right wood to use? Where did they get from their research that these joints were the correct joints to use for this particular purpose? Are these claims backed up by multiple sources? Or have they just asked the bloke down the road and that's it? Yeah, have they supported their findings from multiple sources? So in this example, when they have created a product, the student will have 2,000 words to document, or 12 minutes if it's an oral video of their product, to substantiate their findings. If they do choose to make a bookcase, if the students do choose to do a piece of art, please do not send the actual product in for moderation. What we do require are some photos. Now, this could be presented as a series of photographs where there's highlighted aspects of the product that they've made with justification based on their research, the substantiation of where they got their information from and why they choose to go about it the way they've chosen to go about it. So a student makes a formal dress, for example, there might be a close-up, of the stitching or a close-up of the fabric and things like that. We don't need the actual dress to come in. Please take this opportunity to familiarise yourself with the two samples that we have prepared for you. There is a sample on how to make a Queen Victoria sponge cake, which is a written report that the student has done, and also another written report on how the architecture of the Adelaide Remand Centre affects the behaviour of prisoners.